know about Aruna, man? Do we know this guy? You gotta know him, man. You the concentrated GM, Drew. Put you on the spot.
You the couch potato GM.
He's a raw guy, man. He's Nigerian.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
What's happening? Couch potato GM, joined by Headley Drew, myself, Juice. We're getting into the Minnesota Vikings and their 2018 draft, gentlemen. What do you think about the Vikings? How'd they do?
What did they do, Drew?
They went Mike Hughes. Seems like, Zim is known for being a cornerback whisperer of sorts. Always has a slew of them stacked up. Doesn't necessarily ask his rookies to play early, particularly at that position. So he'll have an opportunity to kind of develop behind Rhodes, Waynes, Newman, Alexander, so on and so forth. I think they did lose Captain Munnerlin. So just making sure that he's always stockpiled full of defensive backs. So
that's a Mike Zimmer thing.
That's
Like he did it in Cincinnati, he's doing it in Minnesota, and he develops these guys, man. And you probably won't see Mike Hughes that much in the field in his rookie year because Zim really doesn't really play his rookies all that much. He lets them develop, and we'll see next year. Now the biggest question will be what's going on with Trey Waynes? Is Mac Alexander expendable? What's going on in that secondary?
I mean, going into the draft, you talk about the Vikings, man. Them boys, it's a handful of teams that were just kind of whatever. They didn't have like crazy needs.
Sure.
They could just go in there and just kind of best player available and move on. And that's kind of what they did. You had the Eagles, the Vikings, maybe the Jaguars, maybe. Yeah, man. I saw the pick and I was just like, okay,
It makes sense.
Yeah,
What they do.
Yeah.
And what we thought about Mike Hughes, I know he was the number 2 ranked corner in the top 5. To me, he probably has one of the highest ceilings at that position. Probably the highest ceiling is just how he plays, man. He plays the game 110% full speed all the time, man.
And he's I think the most balanced corner when you talk about all the attributes, all the skill sets that you want from a corner. He's the most balanced. He doesn't do everything. It's not like he does one thing exceptionally well over everything else. I mean, the only thing you might want to say is that he plays 110%, but that could be to your detriment with injuries and stuff because he only played. I think he used to play at UNC, then he transferred over to UCF, so he's kind of been, he hasn't played a whole lot, but he's in good hands with Minnesota, man. I like the pick, man.
He can have with special teams also.
Hughes is a well-rounded player. I would agree with that. How do you mention the cornerback situation and how the bodies and the numbers are going to shake out? Well, you have some decisions to make. You have some decisions to make. You have expiring contracts coming up. Stephon Diggs is set for an extension. Trey Waynes is going into his 4th year, I believe. He has that 5th-year option, but obviously that's a big price tag associated with that. You'd like to see him get extended. That may not happen. Alexander may not necessarily back. Although I'm of the mindset that Waynes has started to really put it together. Yeah. Take the NFC Championship out of your mind. Nobody in the Vikings played well that game. He's starting to put it together. I think he actually ends up walking. Because the price tag for him is going to be too steep. Hughes then slides in. Brian O'Neill in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I thought it fit exactly a need for the Minnesota Vikings and the playing style. Minnesota likes to, get athletic offensive linemen, get to the second level, and that's what Brian O'Neill does. He's very athletic. He's probably the most athletic tackle in the entire draft. So they're going to ask him to pull and get to the second level, open the holes for Dalvin Cook. So I definitely like that pick in terms of the run game. In the pass game, I think he has some work to do there to protect Kirk Cousins, but it seems like he's going to come in right away and probably start for these guys, man, and move Mike Remmers, who was playing a little tackle, a little guard. They probably move him inside. And, Minnesota, if they had a weakness coming in, it was probably the offensive line. Yeah. So they have some rearranging to do, so we'll see how it pans out.
They kind of let things kind of fall to them, in terms of the offensive line. A lot of people, was thinking Isaiah Wynn, obviously, New England when they hadn't took that away, Will Hernandez. But they went Mike Hughes, man. So, can I read my notes on Brian O'Neill right here? These are notes, man. Fantastic on the move, can get to the second level quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's your quote, your line. I like it. Yes, nice. at his best when he attacks the defender rather than wait for the defender to come to him. Good hand placement, good hand placement. It must be good hand placement. And he's great in space, man. But it's his
going backwards.
Yeah, he's not good at the opposite. When there's muck around him, when things are going down, people are falling around. That's kind of where he loses leverage, and he's got to work on that. Phone booth work it's not on point.
He's relatively new to the position too. He was a tight end, and he just kept growing and growing and growing. And it's the movement skills, as you mentioned, that had teams really intrigued. I was impressed. Saw him at the Senior Bowl. I thought he acquitted himself very well. He seems to be ahead of the curve, despite the inexperience. He's ahead of the curve. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have stuff to work on. He clearly does. That's why he ended up in the second round. But certainly, I like his upside. We always talk about it. We're not really interested in upside when it comes to offensive line. We want guys that we know can play at the highest level. That's an issue. The way the game is played at the collegiate ranks doesn't necessarily prepare those offensive linemen to be successful at the NFL. I think they think because of his athleticism and his movement ability and how far he's come in such a short amount of time is reason to be optimistic about his prospects long term.
And who was the other pit that they drafted? The other is it offensive guard?
TJ Cummings.
Yeah,
Clemens. TJ Clemens.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Was that upside too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Same regime.
Yeah. I think the thing about Clemens was
he was slower.
He was physically dominating. Yeah. He was physically dominating. He was just stronger than the guys across from him. Yeah. Whereas O'Neal, he's already demonstrated that he's a better pass protector than Clemens.
All right, man. You go to the fourth round. You got Jalen Holmes, another of these pass rushers in the Pantheon, Ohio State. They seem to put out a pass rusher every year. They got some ballers in college that's coming out next year. Nick Bosa and the crew. So, what do you think about Jalen Holmes, man? Is it another rotational piece for the Vikings?
Listen, the blueprint is out. I guess
Eagles.
We could go further back. I mean, we could go back to Seattle. We could go back to the Giants. Sometimes it gets forgotten about and teams go elsewhere. But it seems like that blueprint is now maybe here to stay officially, finally. And it's to have waves of pass rushers, man. And I don't think they could have gone wrong here. This guy with D tackle, defensive end, a mix of it's a mix of a little here, a little there. Yeah. He's a violent player from what I've seen.
No.
So his hands,
getting through the muck, and getting to the ball carrier, man. So I like the pick, man.
He doesn't have to play right away, like you said.
Shuttle Richardson.
Yeah, they just picked him up. Yeah. Got that ball in him, Linval. Joseph. Who? Linval? No?
It's funny because Jalen played with a bunch of ballers around him.
Yeah.
And he's going
to another place
with a bunch of ballers around him. So he gets matched up, single, one-on-one. He has the ability to beat those guys. Occasionally he can make that play. And to your point, as far as the defensive line rotation, you don't want guys playing 60 snaps. You don't want that. You're not going to get the bite out of your defensive line, your pass rush, if you got guys who are playing that many snaps. You know what I'm saying? So I like the pick for depth.
Then fifth round pick, a guy that I like a lot. He was one of my tight end sleepers, Tyler Conklin, Central Michigan. He had the Jones fracture in his foot. That's why his 2017 tape was down. But if you looked at the 2016 tape, he was dominant, man. Baller out there. So I do like him. Put him with Kyle Rudolph. I know your boy Flip. What's his Filipino? What's his guy name? The offensive coordinator, new one. You call him Flip.
Yeah, I call him Flip.
Filippo.
There you go. I call him Filipino.
We killing this guy, man. Oh, we know. We understand.
But he came from a place where they use two tight ends. They have Burton and Ertz, and now they have in Minnesota you have Rudolph, and I think Conklin. He could play a pretty key role for Minnesota in that offense, man.
I had an opportunity to see Conklin live at the Senior Bowl, and he looked good. He made some plays. I think he caught a TD pass from Josh Allen, if I'm not mistaken. But he looked good. He looks like he has the ability to play in line, can flex out and do a couple different things, bring a couple different attributes to the table.
I mean, is that hashtag fantasy football alert? What do we?
No.
Nah, you said Ertz? Burton though.
Even Burton, he wasn't a fantasy guy.
I mean, just can't fill in. Nothing.
If Rudolph goes down, and that's redraft discussion. Dynasty, maybe a late flyer on Conklin or something like that. But in all seriousness, no.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, fifth round.
Mark tape.
Kicker? You do want to talk about kickers?
No,
All right, let's go. All right, Kai Forbath. Oh no, okay, let's go. Sixth round, we got Colby Gossett. This guy might be a sleeper guard for Appalachian State.
He looked to be a baller. A mauler. And he looked to be. They a lot of times, man, he got out in space, man. He was moving around, nice and easy, man. You know, so. Listen,
I got numbers, bro. 76 knockdowns, 21 pancakes. What I say? No sacks allowed. Committed only 3 penalties. This guy could be one of these guys. I know Minnesota, like you said, they're looking for some offensive linemen. He could come in, be a sleeper, get in that starting rotation, and be a surprise for Viking fans.
So,
hashtag SKOL.
So I do want to point out. It seemed that the Minnesota's front office clearly had certain intentions. Brian O'Neill, Jalen Holmes, Conklin, and Gossett all played at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, they played at the Senior Bowl.
They all played at the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they wanted guys who are physically mature, have experience under their belt, because Zim is a bit of a throwback. Zim is not your contemporary head coach, you know what I'm saying? And it looks like they were focused on guys who you know, historically, Zim, you got to sit. You got to prove to him that you can play. We're not rushing you in. They may be asking these guys to make a difference sooner rather than later.
Well, definitely O'Neal. There's no doubt about that.
All right, man. We got Ada Runa, Tulane, pass rusher from Tulane. I said that. Tulane.
Defensive end pass rusher.
He said Tulane 3 times in 5 words. He said Tulane 3 times.
You know, again, it's the blueprint, man. When in doubt, 6th round, take a flyer on a guy. It's a defensive end. You know, pass rushers, man. Line, trenches. You can't go wrong with it, man. You can't go wrong with a corner, and you can't go wrong with a defensive lineman at the end of the day.
There you go.
Not at that point in the draft. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
There we go, man.
That's why you got potato cheese.
That's why I'm here, man.
Then we got 7th round pick Devontae Downs, linebacker, California. Got potato GM.
Hashtag SKOL, CouchPotatoGM.com. Couch Potato General Manager is the YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe, hit like, spread the word. Listen, Vikings.
We didn't even talk about the whole Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook thing. Dalvin's back. That's all you really need to know. And Kirk Cousins got all the guaranteed money. So you Vikings fans, you wanted him, you got him.
You know what though? When you talk about Flip, and you talk about Dalvin Cook, and then you talk about all the pieces on offense. Let's just forget the defense for a second, because we know they're nice over there. They got a receiver in Diggs. They got the best route runner in the league in Thielen.
Best tight end in the league.
Self-proclaimed tight end in the league, in Kyle Rudolph. And then you talk about the offense that they're going to be in with Flip, and then you talk about Dalvin. And we've said here at CPGM, that's Couch Potato General Manager, that Kirk Cousins...
Don't mess it up, man.
No, I'm not saying that. Kirk Cousins is the ultimate complementary player when you talk about the quarterback position. When you talk about the quarterback position, when you hear guys say complementary piece, it's a guy who doesn't necessarily or doesn't make anyone around him better. He needs the pieces around him to make him better, and to improve the team and to push the team to its limits,
to new heights.
Heights.
And there's a distinction to be made there. I'm glad you brought that up. We're not calling Kirk Cousins a game manager.
No,
not calling him that.
He's above that.
Yes.
You put him above Alex Smith?
What is Alex Smith, the game manager?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
In terms of talent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say so. I think Kirk Cousins, he isn't the guy that's going to carry you. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like, okay, we need to turn around and hand the ball off 30 times and dink and dunk. I'm not suggesting that. You know what I mean?
It's neither one
right.
of those.
It's somewhere in between. And that's I think with this supporting cast, they can make it another deep run.
My thing with Kirk Cousins is, like I said, don't mess it up, man. You don't need to be captain.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
Don't throw the big interception, man.
Yeah. With that
the
defense,
thing.
though, I think he's.
But he has that gene in him, man. He
does have a gene in him,
but he doesn't
to do more than he's supposed to.
He does, and
he has to, though.
He got all that guaranteed money.
He's the big money guy.
So I talk about it all the time in terms of what play callers do when a quarterback finally gets that big contract. They try to force the issue and try to justify why we paid him all that money. I don't know that DiFilippo will go in that direction.
Zim ain't doing that.
But Zim don't call the plays, though.
True.
Zim don't call the plays.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins himself may put additional pressure on himself to justify why he did after being dating Washington forever and not getting married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get left at the altar.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He may feel that extra pressure to try to justify the money that he's been given, and he doesn't need to. He just needs to go out there and execute.
That's it.
You have it, man.
CouchPotatoGM.com is the website. Couch Potato General Manager is the YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, like, comment, spread the word, man. #SKOL.
Pain is in the building.